There is no such thing as an off week for Anthony Schlegel. This man is always on, and he's always ready to talk about Ohio State. Welcome back
Absolutely.
to the podcast daily. It is a Thursday. That is Schlegs, and he is ready to go. Pretty big win for the Buckeyes last week, Schlegs.
Yep, absolutely. It was a huge win on a lot of different fronts. Top 10 matchup, last year in that game, Marcus's first year. I tell you what, man, I mean, Marcus has quietly done a very nice job there. Like, that team was a very good physical Notre Dame football team that will continue to improve and has a chance of going deep this year. So that being said, a lot of takeaways, a lot of missed opportunities in that game as well. And as you go through and you evaluate it, there's a lot of people that after the fact, well, Notre Dame gave it to you. Well, in these type of games, they're never given; they're always taken. And the one thing I think people forget about is you still have to ultimately execute. Now, we had Marvin that had that ball that got overturned. I thought that was terrible. You have a very subjective, unsportsmanlike conduct, unnecessary roughness on Fryer, which everybody does. That. I mean, like, that was somewhat subjective. Didn't need to happen on that play. He finished it. Didn't need to happen. That negated a big third down conversion. You had a drop touchdown by Emeka. You had, even in that last drive, guy from Notre Dame read it perfectly for Cade Stover. Came in, could have had a pick, game over.
Yeah.
Right? So in all of these games, there was things on the side of both teams that Ohio State could either have won bigger or Notre Dame could have sealed it. And I would say this: the other takeaway from it, besides the fact that it was a very physical, tough football game that I really enjoyed watching, is the fact that if you would have came in there and said Kyle McCord is going to outplay Sam Hartman in this game, I would have said absolutely not. But it just so happened to be the way the game dictated itself. There's never a blueprint for how the game is going to go. We knew that, looking back at what Marcus did last year in that game, and we knew that, hey, it's at home. I'm going to be a little bit more up-tempo, not necessarily up-tempo, but I'm going to be a little riskier. I'm going to go after it. That's why they went on it, went for it on fourth down twice. The defense did a phenomenal job on both instances. So, but the game dictated itself to where they ran the football, and they had the ball for 10 more minutes than Ohio State. Now, consequently, Ohio State was 58% on third down, which was critical in this game, and Notre Dame was 50% on third down. So you look at this very evenly matched game. Ohio State comes out on top, but that right there was kind of that last drive, in my opinion, was the highlight of the first 3 weeks for Ryan Day and how he was trying to develop Kyle McCord. And it came down to a $125 time, 65 yards, and they punched in for the walk-off win at Notre Dame Stadium. That's huge. That's huge.
So with about 4 minutes to go, Schlegs, what was running through your mind? What was your degree of confidence that Ohio State might pull that one out of the fire?
I was very confident because they're gonna chew up the clock, and I'll tell you this too. As much as we and again we meaning fans are like, why don't we get pressure? Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? And they were getting some movement up in the pocket. But you're looking at, well, what about the rush and the outside pressure? Hey man, JTT batting that ball down stopped the clock, which they could have ran off another 30 seconds, right? And I know what Marcus is probably like, what are we doing? Like, we're just like, this is what's hard, man. It's like, just run the ball, And they did it, and we stopped the clock, and we got the ball back. I would say this too: in games like this felt very much in where you look at where Penn State is right now defensively, and where Michigan is right now defensively, and where Ohio State is right now defensively. This is lining up very early 2000s of a Big Ten East matchups coming up.
Yeah.
Where I think we're sixth. What is Michigan? Michigan might be overall. I think they're third total defense, and Penn State's first. And so rushing wise, we're all very good. Passing wise, we're all very good. So again, looking at this, that was what was fun for me, watching our defense step up and then get the ball back for our offense, and the offense go out there and execute it in a way, Marvin on the jacked up ankle. And what he
Yep.
did, I think it was 18 yards. Cade, boom, even on the out route, just a chip block and then getting out. And then honestly, Fleming in a 4th and 7 conversion on that to then hit a 21-yard seam to Mecca on the back shoulder with people coming in to then punch it in with chip. Like there's a lot of things that happen on that drive, man, that
Yeah.
that make it special.
So you've referenced toughness a couple times, Schlegs, and I know that's how critical that is for any program, how important it is to you. When you heard Lou Holtz talking about it, challenging Ohio State's toughness and the physicality on Friday, I
Yeah,
guess, and Ryan Day took it personally. You know, Ryan Day's lost to, he said, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan twice, and everybody who beats them does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. I don't think that's true, personally, but I know that the
yeah.
Buckeyes didn't feel that that was true. Were you surprised at all by the response from Ryan Day? How did you feel about it?
I'll put it this way: like having went back and thought about it now that it's Thursday and we've had time to recap. First off, I love the fact that Jerry was there. It's like, hey, take a deep breath, and it's like, don't you worry about it. I got this. And you know what? It is okay to let your emotion show, right? Because here's the thing: the only people that matter are the people that are in that locker room. Honestly, this is what it's about. He cares about Ohio State. He cares about his players. People would say, like, hey, you did that for the fan base. Like, who cares, man? Fans don't get you fired. Losing games get you fired. The only people that matter are the dudes and the coaches that are in the locker room. Period. Dot. So it was more of I have an opportunity on a national stage to talk about my team and how tough my team is. And you know what? It was a tough physical game. It's unfortunate that those comments on both sides, like even for Holtz, right, negatively impact Marcus, right? And I know Marcus, right, because somebody else said it from that alma mater.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing that I think that everybody misses in this. All right. And I'll get into a little nugget about why I disagree with the comment. But here's the
Mhm.
thing: strength coaches don't ridicule other strength coaches. And he singularly pulled out, this is how you beat Day in his games that he's lost. Okay, I'm going to give you this, right? First off, 19. Didn't talk about he's won a game versus the team up north. For somehow Harbaugh and his 5 losses in a row are just somehow gone. He has 2, but it's what have you done for me lately? I get it, but we outrushed Michigan in 19, 296-91. I got it. All right, that's
Yeah.
out there. We lost to Clemson that year. That was a year with the hit and the ejection and 2
Horrible
turnovers, and
officiating.
we
Yeah.
outrushed Clemson, right? Then we go back and we play Clemson the next year and we outrushed them. Guess what? Then we got smoked by absolutely a great team in Alabama. Nobody's beaten them, all right? Then in 21, Oregon beats us, ran all over us. That to me was more of a scheme than it was a toughness aspect. And then we lost to Michigan that year. Again, going back, it's scheme. Now last year, huge plays, was there right there, but gave up some huge plays. Like they won the
Yeah.
game, they won the line of scrimmage, totally get it. But then you go out there and you play a really tough Georgia team. Like that was back and forth all day. So I think that again, if you go back to the definition of toughness in Ohio State weight room, it is the ability to perform at an elite level regardless of physical, emotional, and mental discomfort. To me, toughness in that game was exactly what he was trying to allude to, and that was the final drive, right? To go win it in somebody else's stadium. Though you were favored by 3, we get it. Okay, you were favored in Notre Dame Stadium, but you still went in there and did it on the road.
Mhm.
All right, we got other teams, right, that are playing in matchups on the road, going to overtime. Nobody's saying anything about that, right? But so again, to me, that was what toughness is. They were tougher. Last drive, you can say, well, coaches didn't have them. What I just say, man, that's part of mental toughness and emotional toughness. It's not just a physical thing. Okay, so I'm happy that he stood up and he said, this is a tough team. It's basically Ohio against the world. That's the mentality there, anyways. None of you fans matter. The only people that matter are the people that are in the building. But I'm going to say this, though. Strength coaches never attack other strength coaches' programming. Strength coaches don't say, first off, or in the media, right, talking about, man, those kids got smooth muscles. Like, why aren't they jacked? Why aren't they doing this? Nobody's talking about, hey, this team, a strength coach talking about, man, you have an unbelievably high amount of hamstrings. There's so many variables that go into those things that you're not going to talk about somebody else's programming. Then when you have a coach literally go and say, Ryan Day, this is how they beat you physically up front in those games without actually going in and looking at the games that he mentioned. And I
Yeah.
would say 2 out of the 6, yes, outrushed, maybe 3. Yeah, I'm taking Alabama out there because that was there, right?
Yeah.
But still, and there's games that we won, like the Utah game. Very tough, physical Utah team. We beat them, but they outrushed us 226 to 110. But that's what they do. But we just had Jackson go off, and we threw for 573. But you still won the game, right? So, again, you go back, you look at it, you dissect it. For me, I got no problem with a media personality, which coach is Coach Lou Holtz. That's what he
Yeah.
does, right? He can double down on that all he wants. And he's looking at a Penn State team that runs the football. He's looking at a Michigan team that runs the football. But you're going to call out Ryan Day personally and how his teams lack the ability to be physical. Bring your lunch pail. That's what. So it was a direct attack on Ryan, and it was a direct attack on Ohio State's team and the way that they're going to go do that. Okay, so I'm happy that he stood up for his guys and that he took that moment. Now, here's the deal: would Tress have done that? Absolutely not. Would
Right.
Urban have done it? Would Urban have done that?
Mm,
Probably. You
maybe.
know,
Yeah.
you know. I think Ryan is a good combination of both. And the thing is, everybody says we want the fiery Ryan, and then you just got him, and yet you got him when he played called against Georgia, and he's been letting it rip, and he's going to let it rip emotionally. But that resonates with his dudes, man. So, again, the only matter in the entire thing are the men in that locker room. That's it.
Yeah. So how do they take it forward from here, Schlegs? I mean, you get a win like that on the road. You have a little bit of a rallying moment with your coach going out and publicly defending you. I would say that probably, as you said, resonated in that locker room, which was really raucous on Saturday night. Probably as loud as I can ever remember hearing it on the road for Ohio State. Like, what
Yep.
does a team do to carry that forward? I mean, obviously the win doesn't mean anything if you don't back it up with others next week against Maryland and down the
An
road.
undefeated Maryland coming into town,
Yeah,
right? So, I
yeah,
mean, here's the thing: you take what you need to learn from it, right? So there's like every game, players and coaches have to be the most critical on themselves. Power the unit, as we talked about with Urban. You have to go and you have to dissect this. What are the things that we did really well? I mean, honestly, I tweeted out, did Denzel Burke even play in that game? Boom. Tip of the hat, Tim Walton. You got a healthy Denzel Burke, and he's playing phenomenal because you didn't hear him
yeah,
because he's just locking dudes down. All right. Your corners and your safeties are playing really fast and physical. I mean, at the point of contact, Hancock and Sonny Styles on a 4th and 1, boom, came right off it. They weren't running it inside. They came right off it. Smash City. I love it. It was fantastic. So those guys are playing really, really fast. Proctor's playing fast. I mean, but there's other things that we can improve upon, right? And you look at the D lineman, right? Can we talk about the rush? Yeah. Can we talk about inside run? Yeah. Well, let's get it fixed. That's what the bye week is for. It's also getting development of our 2 deep, right? Who hasn't got a ton of reps. So we're going to develop those guys. Linebackers, can we get off blocks better? What does our man coverage look like? There's always things to get better. And there's always things that you see to say, I need to keep pressing forward on these because I'm doing them at a really high elite level. Same thing offensively. So this win, what it does is it brings everybody closer together because it's a win, it's good, right? Imagine if this was a loss, a different conversation. But it's
right.
like, you know what? We went into somebody else's territory, somebody else's place, like they're going to have to this year in Michigan. They're going to have to go up there and take that victory. Okay. But they've experienced what it means to go on a road, play a very physical game against a really good opponent, and go take it. So that's what they're going to draw upon, and they have confidence in each other. Like, hey, defense, go give me a stop. Hey, you know what? We got trust that Kyle is going to go down there and make it happen, and all the other playmakers that are around him, and all of our offensive line is going to block accordingly for him. You know what I mean? So it's just everybody is tested in those moments that allow you to go back and just continue to build that trust with them that they're going to get the job done if you go do your job.
Schlegel, you've been in those locker rooms and got those big wins on the road, both coaching and as a player, numerous times. Like, what's it like to be part of that? Like, and how do you bottle it up to make sure that you can do it again?
Well, that's what keeps you coming back. Are those? Nobody. You remember the close wins, you also remember the close losses. Like I remember Texas 05. I remember Penn State 05. I think we beat Penn State. We probably are able to play for a national championship. That still bothers me. I mean, it's not like I know the stats off the top of my head that we only gave up 172 yards of total offense and we threw it out in the entire second half and we still lost 17-10. I don't remember anything about them, but I do remember them. Okay. So like that's what they do. But then you also remember the Michigan game and coming back and trusting, Teddy, like, Tagonzo from Troy and Pittman running in it. Like you remember it's live, live live. Like that's the coolest part about it. And you can reflect upon it and you know that those guys are feeling the same way. Like that's the type of game that you played in those. Like you're not like getting on the bus super quick. Like they were jovial. They were like dancing around, which is cool. I can't dance, so I would just be jumping around. At that time of the game, I'd just sit there in a big dip in and I'd be just like literally like pads would probably still be on because I'd be bruised up and I'm just literally gonna sit in the chair and I'd just be like just dancing.
Man, Schlegs, you were dancing so hard you just knocked the
It
Wi-Fi out in the
happens.
shop
It
there.
happens. But yeah, I mean, let me tell you something, guys. I mean, whether good or bad, right, win or loss, these tough games, man, they resonate with you. There's learning experience from it, and that's life too, man. Like people are going to go in, they're going to pitch. They're going to pitch something, right? They're going to go sell something, and they're going to get beat by somebody, man. It's going to be really close, or they're going to interview for a job and not get that job. And they did everything they possibly can. They're going to learn from it. They're going to grow from it. They're going to be more prepared the next time, right? And then guess what? When they get that one, like they know they're going to be better. So, anyways, that's what I love about college football. That's what you love about watching these type of games and knowing the impact that it has on those young people for a long time.
All right, let's spin it forward, Schlegs. Let's hit the difference makers. 3 guys that you have seen through 4 weeks who maybe haven't been breakout superstars quite yet, but you have your eye
I
on
mean, shoot,
for
bro. I
October.
mean, like Tyleik Williams, I think is a dude. He's doing really well. I
Yeah,
really like him. They got a really good interior rotation. They're getting more reps. I think like 4 is like a sweet spot. Like you got to get in there, you got to feel it, then you got to sub them. But they got to be able to have opportunities to go do that. It's really going to come down to when we play these games. Who are the ones that can stop the run? That can play the run better, and then who are our passing down ones? They might have like some specialty things, or if they're a guy that can do all of them good, then he's going to play a little bit more. So that being said, he is somebody that's really stood out to me. And then I'm also going to say, obviously, Denzel Burke, but our secondary. I mean, and we all know Proctor. Lathan has been there for a while, but Hancock and Styles and the way that they're playing in that nickel, and then I mean, bro, they're playing really fast. And Newsom, even him
yeah,
too, man. I mean,
yeah.
outside of those guys, Hancock, like the nickel and the other corner outside of Denzel are going to get a lot of work. So they're not going to necessarily make all the plays. They're going to have way more reps than Denzel has to make a play, right? So they have more opportunities of also getting beat. But that being said, I think they're doing a really nice job of it. So, I'm excited to see that. And offensively, just the O line continue to grow, continue to learn. I mean, I believe in that Notre Dame game, they had 39 carries to our 25 carries. Average yard per carry was about the same. But we also had that huge home run 61-yarder by Trevion, which to me, it
Yep.
goes back to like, what does he do best? Like, it's like that stretch zone, definitely not into the boundary, definitely not tossing the boundary, definitely not, oh my gosh, the boundary stuff. Like, but because it negates his best attribute, which is his speed. So again,
Yep.
about guys being in space with lesser athletes. That's what you want to see. So let's keep him doing that. But I mean, he's been fantastic to watch. But that starts up front, and then I'm just rattling off people that have impressed me. So I don't need to say anything else. But you know, I like where we are right now
Yeah.
on a
Well,
bye week, 4-0, going to play probably a 5-0 Maryland in the shoe.
yeah. Save some difference makers for next week because that'll be a big one. Looking forward to that. It's going to be at noon on Fox, big noon
Yep.
kickoff and all of that stuff. So Schlegs will be back again next Thursday. I'm going to force him to keep coming back as long as I can. I can't force this man to do anything. Who am I kidding? I'm just thankful that Schlegs wants to spend a little time with us on the podcast daily on a Thursday morning. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Schlegs, you're the best.
Appreciate it, man. Go Bucks.
For Anthony Schlegel, I am Austin Ward. Thanks for joining us on the Podcast Daily. We'll talk to you later.